Good morning, I'm Gretchen Ho. We're coming to you on this Friday, the 16th day of January, bringing you Morning Matters because your mornings matters. Get to the stories that matter today. DILG Chief John Vic Remulla has tagged Atong Ang as the Philippines' most wanted with a 10 million peso prize on his head. Authorities describe the search as extremely challenging, noting that the suspect has the financial resources to secure protection and evade the law. 4 persons involved in the Flextro scandal are now state witnesses under the government protection program after surrendering portions of the controversial funds. Acting DOJ Chief Frederick Vida, however, warned that entrance into the protection program is not a total shield against criminal liability as the investigation continues. And a tropical storm, Ada, continues its slow northwestward progression over the Philippine Sea as of this Friday. While currently maintaining its course, a potential westward shift could trigger landfall over eastern Visayas or the Bicol region by the weekend. Welcome to our program, Morning Matters, where we talk about the issues you need to know for the rest of your day. Now, first in the agenda. Authorities are now stepping up the search for Charlie Atong Ang, the alleged mastermind behind the missing Sabongeros, even offering a bounty for his capture. Here's a report.
Atong Ang has been declared the #1 most wanted in the Philippines with a 10 million peso bounty on his head, courtesy of the Interior Department. Since the Santa Cruz Laguna RTC Branch 26 issued warrants of arrest over the missing Sabongeros case, 17 of 18 subjects have been taken into custody. Only Ang is still at large.
Ang aking abiso sa kanya, Atong, mag-surrender ka na, harapin mo ang hukom at doon ka magpaliwanag. Yung pagtatago ay simbolo ng iyong hindi pagtanggap at pag-iwas sa mga paratang laban sa iyo.
In the afternoon of January 15, operatives of NBI Laguna went to this farm. The property, allegedly owned by an unnamed politician in San Pablo City, was occasionally visited by Ang. But when NBI personnel scored the farm, the gambling tycoon was nowhere to be found. The security guard in the area told News 5 that he only knew Ang from the television reports. But he said he never saw the businessman personally, especially not in this farm. On Wednesday, January 14, or the day the arrest warrant was supposed to be served for the first time, authorities already went to Ang's farm in Santa Cruz and in Lipa, Batangas. Police even went to the Magnates-known address in Pasig City. Ang and 17 others are facing charges of kidnapping with homicide and kidnapping with serious illegal detention. What could make the businessman turn up? The 10 million peso bounty for information on his whereabouts seems like a drop in the bucket. Ang reportedly has much more means and resources than this.
Yung tatapatan niya yung 10 million, mahirap yun eh. Kasi kung tatapatan mo isa, tatapatan mo ang lahat. Wala po siyang nabiling mga investigator, wala siyang nabiling mga piskal, wala siyang nabiling mga huwis. Lahat po yan ay tumupad sa kanilang katungkulan at wala pong nagawa ang mga bilyon-bilyon niyang pera para maiba ang hustisya. Justice will come to Atong Ang. Justice for the 100 missing Sabongeros. Justice for all his illegal acts.
But authorities expect the search for Ang to be challenging and even turn treacherous. According to the DILG chief, Atong Ang is, quote, armed and dangerous, having already killed hundreds of people already and with lots of cash to pay for protection.
Si Atong po ay bumibiyahe ng hindi kumukulang ng 20 ang bodyguard lagi. Sanay po yan sa marahas na pagharap sa mga otoridad, sanay po yan sa marahas na paraan para masolusyonan ang kanyang mga problema. So we consider them armed and dangerous. Pero may garantisya po kami na walang EJK. Wala pong extrajudicial killing na plano ang PNP.
The Philippine National Police has already revoked licenses of 6 guns under Ang's name. It has likewise requested the Interpol to place the businessman on red notice to guarantee his arrest in case he goes out of the country. Per the Bureau of Immigration's monitoring, Ang is still in the Philippines. For now, the manhunt is centered in Luzon. Kapatid Arles de los Santos, we are One News.
Relatives of the missing Sabongeros are calling on government to ensure the protection of whistleblower Julie Dondon Patidongan at any cost. They are also urging businessman Atong Ang to surrender and face the allegations. Here's a report.
The families of the missing Sabongeros are urging authorities to ensure the protection of self-proclaimed whistleblower Julie Dondon Patidongan. Patidongan, who initially introduced himself under the alias Totoy, testified that the missing cockfighting enthusiast may already be dead. He claimed the remains were dumped into Taal Lake in Batangas.
Actually, sila ang buhay namin, dito sa magiging kaso natin. Sila yung naging pinakamalaking bagay na naibigay sa amin na may direct, hindi naman in a way direct participation kasi alam nila kung anong nangyayari. Tapos pinakamalapit na tao na empleyado ni Atong Ang. So hindi ka magdadalawang isip, talagang mataas ang batting average, precise, exact.
Patidongan directly named businessman Atong Ang as the alleged mastermind behind the disappearances, citing cloning or cheating in isabong as the possible motive. He further alleged that the actual number of victims could be close to 100, far higher than 34 cases officially reported. Meanwhile, the victims' families believe Ang is merely in hiding and has not yet left the country.
I think he's still here. Medyo gumagawa lang ng buwelo yan. I'm sure kilala rin ng mga pulis sila, no? So, gumagawa lang ng buwelo yan. Kung kailan siya lalabas. Gumagawa pa siya ng aksyon. Baka mo contact pa dun sa mga kanyang kausap. But we are hoping na nandito pa rin siya because I know deep within him, gusto na rin niyang sumuko. So, we are watching this policeman kung ano ang nagiging takbo ng aming investigation.
They appealed to the gambling tycoon to surrender voluntarily and allow justice to take its course.
Kung talagang yung mga sinasabi mo at totoo, bakit ka magtatago? Lumantad ka na para sagutin mo lahat yung mga naisampa na kaso para sa inyo. Huwag mo nang pahirapan ang mga pamilya. Tama na yung mahigit 4 na taon na pagkukubli nyo sa mga pinaggagawa nyo sa mga pamilya namin.
In an interview with A Big Story, Justice for Missing Sabongeros Network spokesperson Ted Lazaro said that Ang's arrest would serve as a redemption arc for the police in handling the case.
Sana ito yung redemption arc ng PNP at ng ating pamahalaan tungkol dito sa kasong ito. Sana ma-accomplish nila yung mission na maaresto, mapasuko si Mr. Atong Ang.
Lazaro also called for the prosecution of individuals, including the so-called alpha lists. He emphasized that the families are convinced the disappearances are linked to a criminal syndicate, and they hope those named in the list will also be face legal actions.
Nais namin sana na masusipang pag-aralan ng DOJ na masampahan din ng kaso yung mga taong nandun kasama sa alpha list, hindi lang si Mr. Atong Ang.
Lazaro added that the case is a litmus test of the government's commitment to combat organized crime and deliver justice.
Expectedly, gagamitin ni Mr. Atong Ang yung kanyang powers nga para makalusot dito. Pero tingin ko yung taong bayan mismo, yung nagbabantay ngayon kasama namin, para maibigay, may hatid yung justisya para din sa mga kapamilyang ng biktima.
Malacanang says government is using all legal means to bring home former lawmaker Zaldi Ko. Palace Press Officer Undersecretary Claire Castro said Marcos has ordered authorities to fast-track Ko's return through diplomatic coordination with Portugal and cooperation with the Interpol, not a formal extradition process. Ko is facing graft, malversation, and falsification charges over an alleged anomalous flood control project in Oriental Mindoro. Leyte 1st District Congressman Martin Romualdez has denied any dealings with contractor couple Curly and Sara Discaya. Attorney Ade Fajardo, or Ade Fajardo, spokesperson for Romualdez, called allegations linking his client to a Makati property purchase involving the Discayas outright baseless, noting that Curly Discayas publicly stated that he never conducted any business with the lawmaker. Fajardo's statement comes after Senator Ping Lacson said that the Blue Ribbon Committee, which resumes its probe into the flood control scandal on January 19, would investigate claims that Romualdez allegedly used the couple as a front to buy a house and lot in a plush subdivision in Makati.
Representative Romualdez has no knowledge nor involvement in the purported transaction. Representative Romualdez has not met the Discayas and has only heard of them based on what is being said in the media. As such, the claim in the report about using the Discayas as a front in a property purchase is outright baseless. Let us be reminded that allegations cannot override testimony given under oath. Facts cannot be replaced by speculation. Only evidence does. End of quote. Representative Martin Romualdez respects institutional processes and is confident that any fair and evidence-based inquiry will ultimately prove him right.
In weather, Tropical Storm Ada continues to move slowly over the Philippine Sea. It was last spotted some 370 kilometers east of Surigao City, Surigao del Norte. Ada will move generally northwestward today through tomorrow. But a further westward shift may result in a possible landfall over eastern Visayas and Bicol region. For now, signal number 1 is up over several areas across Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. And coming right up, we'll be joined by former IBP President Attorney Domingo Cayosa to discuss the case of fugitive Atong Ang and the inclusion of 4 key personalities from the flood control scandal into the Witness Protection Program. Don't go away. Morning Matters will be back after a quick break. Keep it here. Good morning, I'm Gretchen Ho. Here on Morning Matters, we talk about the most pressing issues and give you the context behind the headlines. As we know, authorities are stepping up the search for Atong Ang, now declared the #1 most wanted in the Philippines. The DILG has announced a 10 million peso reward for information leading to his arrest in connection with the missing Sabongeros case. Interior Secretary John Vic Remulla says Ang is armed and dangerous, with police revoking the licenses of 6 firearms under his name. So far, 17 out of the 18 subjects named in the case are already in custody, with Atong Ang the only one still at large. And joining us this morning, we have former Integrated Bar of the Philippines President Attorney Domingo Cayosa. Welcome back to the show.
Good morning, Gretchen. Magandang umaga sa ating mga kababayan.
It seems that this week we've gone from one end of the pendulum to another. Just last Monday, I do remember there were rumors of Henry Alcantara and the rest recanting their testimony. Rumors that they have denied, and now they have been admitted. At least Henry Alcantara and the 3 others have been admitted into the Witness Protection Program as state witnesses. What is your read? Were negotiations happening during the week, and do you think that the amount that they've returned is enough to officially admit them? And what would be the difference with Bryce Hernandez and JP Mendoza's case?
Well, negotiations and discussions will be continuing. As a matter of fact, even if they're already admitted into the Witness Protection Program, that's not a permanent thing, because once they don't comply with their commitments, and it would be very interesting to know the contents of the memorandum of agreement between the government and these state witnesses. Once they don't comply with that, they can be brought back into the charge sheet. So there's dynamics here. And even if they're already in the witness protection program, I suspect there would still be some overtures from the other side for them to, limit their testimonies or recant again. But what we've seen so far is a very positive development. I think that's a rational thing for them to do after they have already spoken freely before the Senate and other fora, and they have surrendered part of the loot. So that's good for the country. It will help the prosecution, and it will put to note and notice all the other parties that it will be much easier and faster for the government to prosecute and make everybody accountable. As to the two others, I suspect in the negotiations or in the evaluation, they might not have been as willing to tell all, because when you volunteer or when you apply to be a state witness, you must be willing to tell everything, the whole truth and nothing but the truth.
But when it comes to the case of Engineer Alcantara, there was a report saying that the amount that he returned was too small compared to the billions that he was gambling in casinos. So what could have made him qualify for this?
Well, I agree with that observation compared to what they've been rumored to have amassed out of this flood control controversy or scandal. The amount so far surrendered is minimal. And I suspect, and it should be the case, that the agreement is not final in that aspect. If there will be other things that will be discovered by government, then I suspect, and should be the case, that the agreement is that these two, they will turn over, because it will also be very revolting to the justice system and to our country when grafters or plunderers return a fraction of what they got, and then they're given the witness protection program and they're not charged. That will be a raw deal, and I don't think the DOJ officials would also agree to that.
And I do remember that it was Yusek Bernardo, who is one of the four who admitted as state witness, and Henry Alcantara, who implicated the two senators, si Senator Jinggoy, Senator Joel Villanueva. Does that mean that their testimony stands?
Of course, and it might, by this time, I suppose, their testimony had been corroborated, and they've submitted additional evidence to beef up their testimony, because that's part of the process in qualifying somebody under the witness protection program. Kinakailangan may resibo, and their testimonies can be corroborated in material points, in important points. So I suppose yan ang mangyayari.
So now what should we expect from these four state witnesses?
Well, we would expect and we hope for consistency and for full disclosure, because it's not correct to say that it is their right. That's just a privilege. If you don't comply with your undertaking, the DOJ can later on drop you from the witness protection program. At nangyayari naman yan. So this is a continuing commitment. And that's why we say so far. Pati itong sinurrender nila, so far so good. But that's not the end of it. If there will be others discovered, then under that agreement, we haven't seen the fine print. I suppose they will be compelled to turn them over also. At the same time, if there are other new things that come up and they know something about this, then they will be compelled under the agreement to also tell the truth about this and substantiate or corroborate whatever they're saying with other kinds of evidence that they may have access to or they may know.
Siguro ang tanong ho ng taong bayan, makikita ba natin yung tell-all affidavit na yan? Where will they file that, their side of the story?
But definitely makikita ho natin, because the process is the fact that the DOJ has decided that they are qualified, and of course they will first be charged together with all the accused, the plunderers. Then they will have to convince the court that these co-accused are very material witnesses. Their testimony will be necessary to convict all the others. They're not one of the most guilty, and the court will agree or disagree with the motion or request of the DOJ. And that's why those affidavit, the court, the Sandigan Bayan, it asks, what are the statements, what kind of evidence? Because the court also has to assess whether or not it is right for them to be dismissed as co-accused and to turn state witness.
Will the public have access to these trials where they will testify?
Definitely, because this is a criminal case, and it is an ordinary plunder or graft case, public record yan. So I hope again there are no limits, because as a general rule, those are public records. Remember, it's the people of the Philippines versus all of this. So the justices or whoever cannot say, you cannot look at this. It's very important. That aspect of transparency, it is a court of record. It's very important so that everybody knows that the whole country is watching. Because otherwise, kung sekreto lang yan, baka mangyayari yung nangyari nakaraan na kunwari may mga hearing later on after so many years, halos lahat nakalusot at lalong walang na-recover. So that aspect, I hope you in the media, you will do your very important function of looking into that and keeping our people informed.
And given how massive this corruption scandal is, we're just also connecting the dots. But admitting these four into the State Witness Protection Program, does that mean mas solido na ho yung kaso laban sa bigger fish here? Again, the senators involved, Senator Jinggoy, Senator Joel, Senator Pong Revilla, several congressmen also implicated. Does that mean ito po ay tutuloy na ho doon na maaaring sila po yung susunod? What does this mean? Them being admitted into the State Witness Protection Program, what does this mean for the other cases at yung inaantay po na bigger fish ng taong bayan?
From what we've known from published reports and statements from the government, there are documentary evidence, there are other circumstantial evidence, there are other testimonies that would link or make some of these politicians, or quite a number of these congressmen and politicians, accountable. But the testimony of these four will be very important. It helps a lot because they are from the inside. They know what's happening. They were involved in the conspiracy. They were part of the system. So matindi ang epekto ng mga inside information na ibibigay nila.
Okay. And then as we talked about the amounts kanina, over 316 million pesos has been returned, with the 1.5 billion being expected. But restitution is not a requirement, tama po ba, to become state witness?
Well, that's what one senator kept on insisting. The law does not say there should be restitution, but doesn't mean to say that, natatanga-tanga ang gobyerno, because the law says the government and the applicant for the Witness Protection Program must enter into a memorandum of agreement. So, if you are a right-minded prosecutor or government on the side of government, you would of course require to show good faith, ibalik mo yung ninakaw mo. Because how can government justify na yung, sige, bigyan ka namin ng protection, all the privileges, hindi ka makakasuhan, you can keep the loot, and that's it. No, that will be a riot. So, tama lang naman yung ginagawa ng gobyerno na solid naman kayo. Diba? So, I hope na hindi definite yun, dapat open-ended. Kung meron pang iba na makita natin later on, solid din.
Now that these four have been admitted into the witness protection program, what's the worst penalty that they could have, given yun nga, they're willing to cooperate also?
But if they comply, Gretchen, with their commitments in the witness protection program and their responsibilities, they will not be charged.
At all?
For this particular case, kasi case-to-case basis yan. That's why, in-explain din ng acting DOJ secretary na it is only for these cases na i-charge sila or yung mga naunang na-discover na. So, they will be very helpful in the case build-up. They will be very helpful. And they should tell all in the prosecution, pipirma ng mga affidavits and everything. They will stay witness. They will make themselves available. So, pag ganon, they will not be charged. As a matter of fact, under the rules and under the law, once you are discharged as an accused and put under the witness protection program, yung civil liabilities mo dito sa criminal cases, hindi na rin mahahabol ng gobyerno. And that is one of the reasons why kailangan may memorandum of agreement kayo bago ka maging witness.
Muna
para
pera.
maibalik.
Okay.
Oo.
But what other cases could they be charged with if in particular dito lang po sila mawawala ng criminal liability at civil liability? Ano pa po kaya yung maaaring maihabol? Kasi hindi naman ho parang hindi ba ho yan parang ninakawan ka po ng kaklase mo basta tapos binalik yung pera tapos umamin then wala na ho. Ganun na ho ba? I mean wala po talaga walang penalties.
Well, wala. As a matter of fact, it's a privilege to be in the witness protection. And that's why it takes quite some time. Kailangang maingat ang DOJ. But again, kung hindi ka tumupad, di ba? For example, nag-leak ka ng information, yung confidential, maraming mga kondisyones yan. Pag nag-violate ka ng isa nun, at pwede kang ibalik as an accused, they can throw the book at you. You violate the contract, you violate the provisions of the witness protection law. That's another offense, and many others, perjury at kung ano-ano pa. So, mahirap din na talikuran yung mga pangako, commitments sa witness protection program because there will be civil and criminal and administrative liabilities. They will throw the book at you. So, you really complicate your life. Now, anong ibang kaso? So, ito kasi ang pinag-uusapan ngayon sa agreement is itong alam ngayon ng gobyerno. Diba? So if there are other cases na dulutang later on in the case build-up at may kinalaman sila doon, malamang kasama yan sa agreement na doon, magsabi din kayo na hindi pwedeng sabihin, ayaw ko na yan kasi hindi wala sa kontrata natin yan. Ganon. Now,
so these four could, these four could just walk
unrelated,
free.
Gretchen, to the cases ngayon, like for example ibang aspeto may na ibang krimen hindi sakop yun.
So they could just walk free, in short,
for this particular case.
Okay. All right, and that will be in the hands of the Department of Justice.
Yes, Department of Justice and of course the Sandigan Bayan kasi ipa-file nila yun. Ang may control ngayon dyan would be Sandigan Bayan. So magsusumbong din ang DOJ sa Sandigan Bayan o Ombudsman and then ibabalik sila as accused kung hindi sila tutupad sa kanilang commitment.
We do hope that's incentive enough for the others to also do a tell-all. In the meantime, maraming salamat po for your time and helping us understand the latest developments. We have former IBP President Attorney Domingo Cayosa.
Thank you. Good morning.
Up next, former Pampanga Representative Yeng Giao joins us to break down the High Court's decision rejecting PAGCOR's final appeals on funding for the Philippine Sports Commission. Don't go away. Morning Matters will be back after a quick break. Keep it here at One News. Welcome back. You're still watching Morning Matters here on One News. The Supreme Court has denied with finality PAGCOR's appeal on its obligation to remit 5% of its gross income to the Philippine Sports Commission. The High Court affirmed its earlier ruling on a petition filed by former Pampanga Congressman Yeng Giao in 2016. Now, in its decision, the Supreme Court ordered PAGCOR and the PCSO to submit a detailed account of the amounts owed and the actual remittances made to the PSC, with any balance payable over 10 years. The court also rejected PAGCOR and PCSO's arguments on procedure and claims that the ruling would lead to overpayment. And joining us now, we have a winner of 7 PBA championships, a multiple Coach of the Year awardee, and now true to form after 9 long years, his endurance shines by winning in another court, the Supreme Court. Congratulations, Coach Yeng. Thank you for joining
Salamat,
us.
dear Chen, and good morning to everyone.
What does this win mean to you compared to the other championships?
This is a lot bigger than any championship you can win. It's also going to impact Philippine sports in general. Not only Philippine sports, but I think the general public, no, yung ano natin, yung regular ordinary citizens who just wanna be fit or looking for venues where they can jog, where they can run, because part of this funding is going to be going to our regional training centers. No, that's what Chairman Pato Gregorio told me, that one of his plans really is to build training centers in the region so that athletes from those areas need not go to Manila to train. And also at the same time, yung mga regional training centers na yan will serve as public areas. Alam mo, kulang tayo sa mga parks. We don't really have parks in the Philippines. And if you want to jog as a regular citizen, you just want to be fit, just want to be healthy, you're jogging in the streets or you're just inhaling bad air. Kung meron na tayong mga regional training centers, those things will be used by our athletes, yes. But they'll be used for only 2 or 3 hours at a time. So the rest of the day, our general public can use those facilities. No?
So, galing po sa PSC yung pondo na
Hindi.
ginagamit pang patayo po nun. Hindi po ba DPWH or LGU po yun?
What will happen is the PSC, if there's sports facilities, they have to look for funding on their own. No? So actually yung funding na yan, dapat talaga manggagaling from this source, which is 5% from PAGCOR, and I think it's 6 draws from the PCSO every year. What happened, the reason we filed this with the Supreme Court in 2016 was, ito yung context, no? That's the context, is the Office of the President, which was then President Fidel Ramos, instructed the PAGCOR to remit half to the Office of the President and the other half to the PSC. So what happened was, instead of receiving the 5% gross, PSC only received
2.5.
actually 2.5. It's less than 2.5. It's actually 2.2 with the research na namin ito. They were really just getting 2.2%. And the law says they should be getting 5% of gross. So from the term of President Ramos to the present, that's been the usual practice.
So, was there an executive order for that?
Yes, they put out an executive order, but an executive order does not trump a law. No? So yun ang nangyari doon. So that is what we challenged in the Supreme Court. No? So the Supreme Court granted our complaint. And then what happened was there was an appeal, no, by PAGCOR, PCSO, and Office of the President. And the appeal was decided only a few weeks ago. And
Dumiretso daw kasi kayo sa Supreme Court.
that was with finality, yes. So they wanted us to go through the regular
Gamot.
courts. But sabi ng Supreme Court, something as important as this, the Supreme Court has the authority naman to rule on it. No? So, pwede naman talagang dumiretso sa Supreme Court pagka ganito.
Pero paano nyo ito na diskubre na kulang?
It's an open secret. No? It's an open secret, especially us, no? A lot of sports leaders, a lot of federation presidents, because this money also goes to the individual NSAs, no, National Sports Associations or federations. The PSC gives them money to operate their respective associations. So everybody was complaining, but nobody wanted to act. No, that's the problem. Because if you act on it, you're really going against the Office of the President, PAGCOR, and PCSO. No? So,
but you filed this in 2016.
2016.
Way long after Fidel Ramos's administration.
Yes, actually, the PCSO law was passed in 1990. So that created the PSC, and within that law, it was stated how they will be funded. No? So ito yung source of funding nila.
So which is PAGCOR and PCSO.
Yes.
Dalawa lang ho ang pinangkukuhanan.
Tama yun. No?
Okay.
And then what happened in 1992, so only after 2 years, President Ramos instructed through an executive order for PAGCOR to just give half.
Would you have any insight as to why the
Well,
former
what
president
happened
did
then
that?
was, the situation was, we had a power crisis. That was yung brownouts.
I do remember.
every time. Yes,
Born
brownouts.
1990, puro brownout.
Puro brownout. And the government was scrounging for funds, looking for funds everywhere, so that they can use those funds to
pool extra money.
to find ways to. They were actually buying barges, yung mga generators to supplement the power supply. But what happened was, even after the power crisis, they never returned the money to PSC. And everybody knew, or at least in the sports industry, everybody knew that that money was supposed to go to the Philippine Sports Commission. But nobody wanted to act. No? Even when I was looking for other parties to go to the Supreme Court with, because I was thinking, will they listen to a Yengya or just one guy just trying to correct this injustice? I think it was an injustice to Philippine sports. No? So I couldn't find anybody, so we decided with our lawyer. No, I'd like to also give credit to our lawyer who worked pro bono. Wala naman kaming ibabayad sa kanya, so it was really pro bono. And
what's his name? Just to give him the proper
Attorney
credit.
June Guzman. And we started the process. We researched it. We made our filings with the Supreme Court. No, so when you go there, you're supposed to exchange pleadings. So they did that. You're supposed to show up and argue your case. So we did that. And there was a lot of waiting. It's actually almost 10 years, because we filed this in 2016. It's already 2026
Oo nga, 2026
now.
na nga pala.
So it's almost 10 years. And we will reap the benefits, I think, supposed to be this year. The Supreme Court instructed the PAGCOR and PCSO to start the accounting
Of back payments.
So there are 3 things that happened here now. No? 3 things I think that we need to look at, because these things are going to matter in terms of funding Philippine sports. No? Number 1, instead of 5%, instead of 2.2%, which is what's the practice now, it's supposed to be 5%. 5% gross. So what was happening before was, it wasn't even computed at gross. It was computed at net.
Tinatanggal po yung...
Oo, tinatanggal pa yung mga expenses, no?
Oo.
So the instruction
Ang laki nun.
and the law is supposed to be gross. So that's the number one thing that needs to be corrected. Number two, yung back pay or back dues supposed to be computed from 1992 to the present. So that's big money. I think that's going to be more than 30 billion. We estimate it to be around 33 billion. So PAGCOR said they cannot pay that one time, but they will pay that in 10 years. So they'll break it down and amortize that amount in 10 years. So baka meron kang additional 3 billion a year if that's going to be 10 years, which the PSC can make use of. No? And also, this is another good news and a ripple effect, no, of our fight in the Supreme Court. It became Philippine jurisprudence. No? It became also the basis of the ruling of the PhilHealth funds. No? The 60 billion that they took away from, the government took away from PhilHealth to put into other projects, and some parties went to the Supreme Court to challenge that.
Which part po yung nagamit nila doon sa ruling po ninyo?
Yung ang sabi nila, if funding is created there and it is stated by law, you cannot just pull out that funding and put it into some other purpose, no? Which is what they did to doon sa
So you're talking
PSC
about
Sports.
the PhilHealth funds, that excess funds na binalik sa Treasury?
Yes, this is the PhilHealth funds na nandun sa trust nila. Tinanggal ngayon ng
Binalik sa Treasury.
executive. Binalik sa Treasury for use for other purpose.
Oo, yun nga yung the controversial
Yes.
excess
So nawala ng
funds.
60 billion yung si PhilHealth. No? So ngayon, may mga may mga nag-contest, and they also
They
won.
cited.
Yes, and they cited our case na
The
naging
Yang
presida
Giao
dyan.
law.
It's actually not a law. So,
Yang Giao ruling.
yes, it's a ruling, no? And they specifically cited our ruling. So now, from here on, that ruling is going to be cited whenever the government
Galing.
transfers funds which are supposed to be for a certain purpose. No? Hindi mo pwedeng galawin yan pagka pumasa na yan sa batas. Sabi dito yan sa PhilHealth, tapos kukunin mo, lilipat mo sa iba. Hindi pwede yun.
Talagang naghanap po kayo ng ng challenge pa beyond the court.
Hindi, that's just bonus. Kumbaga, we just try to do
No, that's
the right
work.
thing.
That's amazing work
Yeah.
because this will have an effect
Yes.
beyond our lifetimes, right? For many
And beyond
Filipinos,
sports,
beyond
no?
sports, right? What through this process of researching sports funds, what have you learned about how?
Well,
All the loopholes, the integrity when it comes to sports funding. Kasi ako po, bilang atleta, lagi
Yes.
na lang nasa isip ko, wala namang pera eh. Kulang eh. You see dilapidated gyms, you see underfunded programs, you see athletes scrimping for money,
Exactly.
delayed payments, delayed allowances. What have you learned? Do we have the money?
yes, actually, no.
Is it about management? Is it...
I think we're, in fairness to Chairman Pato Gregorio, they're doing a good job now, and with this money coming in, I'm sure they'll also put that into good use. What I learned is just do the right thing and hope that the rest is going to fall into place. We'd like to thank the Supreme Court. No, the Supreme Court, si Justice Marvic Leonen was the ponente, and it passed through the Supreme Court unanimously. That's a 15-0 vote.
Wow.
So nobody disagreed with our contentions. No? So 15-0 siya. So we knew already that even if they appeal, it's very hard to overturn something like a unanimous decision of the Supreme Court. So we just waited, no, for that time to come. And tama ka, no? Athletes training should get better. Our facilities should be better. We should have more facilities. We should be getting better nutrition for our athletes. You know, our athletes, they eat cup noodles when they're hungry, no? And they try to, when they're abroad training, they try to save as much as they can actually with their allowances and whatever PSC gives them. Because they're still supporting their families. They're not just supporting themselves. No, if you give an athlete an allowance of say 10,000 or 15,000, they will try to save half of that and maybe give the rest to send them to their relatives, families. No? So, sabi rin ni Chairman Pato, this can go to increasing those allowances for the athletes. Also, better training, better coaches. We can afford better coaches. We can get coaches from abroad. And I was also suggesting that yung mga medal-rich events should get a little bit more of that money, no? Hindi naman pwedeng puro basketball lang or
coming from a basketball coach.
Puro volleyball lang, diba? There are sports like sports where there are weight categories where we can get more medals in the Olympics, maybe in the Asian Games, maybe in the World Games. So, alam nila yon, they know how to, allocate that money.
But who determines where the money goes? Is it PSC mainly?
PSC
Sa programa
mainly.
ho nila?
Yes. Usually, and the national sports associations or the federations, they will submit a proposal. They will submit a proposal for funding to the PSC. And then that's where they decide yung mga priorities nila.
Were there any plans when it comes to grassroots?
Exactly, no, that's grassroots. That's why it's important to have those facilities in the provinces because that's where your grassroots really starts. No, so, meron tayong mga facilities in Mindanao, in Visayas, in Luzon. Because if you want to create any program, a football program or a weightlifting program or a swimming program, you have to have a swimming pool, you have to have a football field. So if you're going to do that nationwide, you have to invest on those facilities and infrastructure.
Actually, sakto-sakto po yung conversation natin, no? Kasi I'm going to the weightlifting gym of Heidi Diaz later.
Ooh.
And she, as the first Philippine gold medalist, has been trying to put up weightlifting gyms all over the country. Yun nga lang, pondo din ang hinahanap nila, no? But sabi naman nila, the PSC has been giving them funding. But parang yun yung lagi na lang case, no, when it comes to Philippine sports, laging parang kinukulang, laging abonado. Pag nanalo ka, money is not even guaranteed even after you win.
Actually, yung mga incentives na yan, when I was also in the Congress, we sponsored the athletes' incentives law. When I was in Congress, if you get an Olympic medal, you get 1 million pesos. What is 1 million pesos? And then, what we tried to do then was to increase it. We were able to increase it to 10 million. But now, 10 million for winning a gold medal in the Olympics, I don't think that's enough. But meron namang ibang mga corporate sponsors who donate more money.
This money comes in mostly after you win.
Yes.
Isn't money needed before to be able to strengthen the foundations? And so for your next challenge, what can we change in the law, do you think, that to be able to funnel money into the training process?
Yes. Actually, this money that's going to come in, it's not just going to double the funding of the PSC. It's going to double this on a yearly basis or a monthly basis. So that extra money can now go to training. No? So instead of maybe, let's say if you're amateur boxing, if you're just your capacity is just train 20 athletes, maybe now you can train 50 athletes. No? So it's going to expand the programs of the national sports associations. No? And with better facilities, with better coaches. No? So you expand that into all the other sports. Dapat siguro next Olympics or next Asian Games, we should be able to put in a bigger delegation with better quality athletes. We have a bigger
I think
chance
it's
of winning medals.
worth taking a look at the PSC law and to update it. Kasi medyo matagal-tagal na ho yung nabanggit nyo, 1992? 1992? Or 1990? 1990
Yeah.
po ginawa, ano. Kasi when it comes to training, a certain level of predictability in resources is required for commitment. Kasi kung hindi nyo sigurado kung meron kayong allowance,
Oo.
which is most of the time the problem, parang ilang buwan, delayed,
Yes.
which si Chair Pato has already activated digital payments, no? Of
Tama.
these allowances. But yun yung isa sa mga problems. I mean, yung not knowing whether you'd have enough to eat or to find nutritious food o saan ka titira and all of those things, no? But maybe we could also look at that law and how to
Yes.
institutionalize it.
Actually, with the Supreme Court ruling, ito nga, yung resources mo will be more than double. No? With the once the Supreme Court ruling is applied and they execute it and the PAGCOR is able to remit that fund completely to PSC, we can address all those problems about resources and funding and yun nga, creating a better atmosphere for our athletes. But tama ka rin, maybe we should look at our PSC law and find ibang ano doon, no? Ibang aspects of that law which can be improved. No? Ako, yung pinasa naming law noon, I was also a major sponsor of that bill. To me, nakukulangan na ako no? Doon sa 10 million for an Olympic medal or a world class competition if you win. Ang investment ng athlete
It's way more than that.
Is way more than that.
Which is why I emphasize on putting the money in the program itself. Because puro incentives ang pinag-uusapan po natin pagdating
Actually,
sa sports
kinukuha natin yung balance niyan with our corporate sponsors. No? But corporate sponsors at some point they will have that sponsorship fatigue. Nagkakaroon ng...
And they will be interested in the more popular athletes and sports usually.
Exactly. No, so sinasabi nga natin na the PSC can now look to fund yung
underfunded or
lesser
underexposed.
noticed na mga sports natin.
Certainly kayo po ay malakas ang boses dito dahil po sa Yang Yao ruling. But we do hope that all of these improvements get institutionalized. As a final note, no, ano po ang inyong pangarap, no, sa Philippine sports? What's next maybe for Coach Yang? What's the next challenge? Congress?
Well, no. I'm retired from
Politics.
Politics. Of course, I'm still coaching for Rain or Shine in the PBA. And hindi pa tapos yung challenge natin dito. I think with the victory in the Supreme Court, our next challenge is to be vigilant. No? That's a lot of money. We should be able to see results we should be able to ask questions and be vigilant. Bantayan natin because ang problema kasi, no, of course, I have full trust in Chairman Pato. Ang problema natin,
Paano kung pinalitan?
yes, or paano kung merong mga funds na hindi well audited or
Same goes with
baka
any budget, all the budget
wasted.
problems that
So,
we have.
kailangan pa rin natin bantayan.
And another thing that we should cure in Philippine sports is yung partiality. Kung pwede sana medyo mas yun nga po kaya dapat institutionalized para yung decisions are cemented in law rather than
fair
subjective.
Siya.
Oo.
Para fair siya for everyone.
Oo. Okay, yan po ang susunod na challenge. Abangan po namin kung paano niyo po i-address yung mga problemang yan.
Binigyan mo na naman ako ng problema.
But knowing you, and I've watched you since I was grade 5 on the sidelines of the PBA,
Yes.
nakilala po kayo bilang isang coach na talagang mahabang pasensya. Marunong po mag-develop ng player. No? You know how to bring the best out of situations, and so we look forward to more. Thank you for your work, and shout out to the former team
Yes,
that I watched growing up. No? Idol ko to si Coach
hindi alam ng viewers mo na bata pa kayo
Pinapanood ko siya.
nila.
Dahil ko natutunan kay Coach Yeng. Pero cool lang minsan nag-aaway pero the necessary battles.
Yes, part of the drama.
Okay, maraming salamat for talking to us about the latest win over at the Supreme Court. More funds for Philippine sports, courtesy of former Pampanga Congressman and longtime basketball coach Yeng Giao, as well as attorney June Guzman.
Yes, yun ang katulong natin.
And that wraps up today's episode of Morning Matters. We hope we've given you the right start to your morning. Let's go ahead and make the day matter. My name is Gretchen Ho. Kapatid, we are One News, all sides, all the time. Have a good weekend.